I'm way too old to be Olivia, and yet here I am, living. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach. I am the Swiftologist, and I make thoughtful weekly videos about pop culture. If you know anything about me, you know that I'm particularly interested in pop music, pop girlies in particular. And today I'm going to be reacting to Olivia Rodrigo's new song, the second single off of her upcoming sophomore album, Guts, entitled Bad Idea, right? And I'm so excited because I feel like Olivia really has something special that a lot of these other impending pop girlies just don't have. I'm going to get into what I think is so special about Olivia and why I have taken a particular shine and interest to her in terms of artists that are like kind of significantly out of my generation or my age range of interest. I'm going to explain all of that after I react to the video, because I know some people are just here to see my reaction. And can we just do a slow clap for me making 2 turnaround videos really fast in 24 hours and 2 days? I'm a legend. No days off ologist, that's what they call me. But if you like thoughtful pop culture commentary, then might I suggest that you subscribe to my channel. I will absolutely be reacting to Guts. I can't wait to hear Olivia's second album. I'm very intrigued, I'm pleased and surprised by the messaging and the branding of the album so far. I love the branding. Slay. Go for it, queen. Ooh, okay. Very Gen Z, very Euphoria. Are you 21, girly? Love it. Okay. Very Y2K vibes. All right. I love the look. It's very Heaven by Marc Jacobs. It probably is, queen. It's giving brutal. Okay, okay, okay. No, they can't. No, they can't, girl. So true. At least she's self-aware. She's looking so gorgeous. Olivia's very pretty. Okay. Dialogue in the music videos. I don't love that about me. Okay, girly. Okay, funny girl. I love this look. Whoever styled this video did a really good job. Did Patrick Collins direct this too? Love it. It really reminds me of the Good For You music video. The song too. Yeah, it is. Also kind of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Anyone else getting that? Queen. At least she knows it's a bad idea. Uh-huh. Sure, Jan. I really love the world making here. It feels like a natural continuation from Sour, which I like. Whoa! Cool! It's like high budget DIY. Obsessed. All right, so Bad Idea, right? The second single from Olivia Rodrigo's forthcoming album, Guts. She wrote in an email, I think, to her fans that this was supposed to show a different, sillier, more lighthearted, funny, kind of sardonic side to the record, and it definitely accomplishes that. To me, there's a little bit too much talking and not enough singing. It really reminds me of Brutal from Sour, and it's not quite giving me enough melody for me to latch onto it right away. I think I might need to sit with this one for a little bit, but also I think it might just be not for me. And I think that's something I grapple with a lot when I'm, trying to go on my Livy journey, is that sometimes there are songs that really seem to resonate with people that just don't resonate with me because I'm not a teenage girl. And that is like totally okay and fair. That doesn't make what Olivia's doing bad. It just means that like maybe it's not as mass market applicable as some of her other songs are. She's very capable of creating a song that leans into that teenage melodrama, but also kind of leverages a more wide commercial appeal. Songs like Good For You, Driver's License, Deja Vu, #1 hits worldwide. We love to hear them. So So in general, I think what I love a lot about Olivia Rodrigo that I don't see from a lot of like Gen Z artists is that she definitely has fallen into that like Y2K trend, like TikTok cycle of like filming on, I guess, like digicams or like film footage and dressing in a very particular Heaven by Marc Jacobs way. She's doing all the things that people of her generation do, but she's doing it with a perspective and with like a point of view. And I don't see a lot of other artists doing that. I feel like a lot of the other Gen Z artists are just kind of like various shades of each other. And I think that the two kind of pioneering Gen Z, you know, girlies that I think are really kind of setting trends rather than following them are Olivia and Billie Eilish. They both have like very distinct, unique skill sets that they lean into. They both really like are heavily into the world making aspect of their discography. The writing is generally a little bit more intricate. It's a little bit more unique. Some of the other Gen Z girlies, I won't name names because you guys get really upset at me when I go on and on about the people that I just think are kind of mid or subpar, are, you know, following the trends and kind of, you know, making mimicry of the Olivia and Billie Eilish thing. But unfortunately, you know, originality can be imitated. It can never be copied. And I think that's what I really, really like about Olivia a lot is that while she's trendy and while she's like doing what people her age are doing, I feel like her purpose as an artist is really to like make art, to be a musician, not to be a glorified influencer with a couple of songs, not to be like a really pretty girly who gets on stage and sings a couple of catchy hits. Her mission to me seems to be larger than that. And I can hear her, you know, running through the things that she's like mulling over in her head in her songs. Watching her work through, you know, the experiences of her life is a very Swiftian thing to do. This is why I always say that if there is a direct descendant to Taylor Swift, it is most likely to be Olivia Rodrigo. It's not because of her sound. It's not because of even specifically the way that she does her songwriting. It is the ways in which she imbues her personal experience into her songwriting and drops you into it and makes you feel like you're seeing it from her point of view, not just that you're hearing her sing about something that happened to her and made her feel sad. There's a little bit more of a complexity in it that makes you feel like you are involved. It's not just like you're listening, you're paying attention. And I think that Olivia's been like super considerate and careful about like building up her legacy. It seems to me that she's really taking her time. She's not doing every interview. She's not going on every talk show. She's not doing a million features. She's not doing 10 re-releases of Sour. She's not doing 100 remixes. She's really, I think, trying to create a body of work that has growth and maturity and, you know, some sort of like lyrical aspiration within it. I thought that Sour on the whole, I just re-listened to it before this to kind of give my overarching thoughts because I think I was a little bit harsh on it the first time that I heard it, just because I was a little taken aback by the instantaneous Taylor and Olivia comparison. I was quick to discount that at first, but I am coming back around to kind of maybe change my opinion on that a little bit. Not entirely. Again, I don't think she is the next Taylor Swift, but I think she has the most striking elements of Taylor Swift's songwriting legacy inside of her. So I think that Sour in general was an incredible album that reflected what it felt like to be a teenage girl in this very specific, weird, unparalleled time in history. Everybody was like living through their phones and, you know, teens had really been isolated from school and from each other for a long time. And I think Olivia, like, she just captured the zeitgeist in a way that I think is really difficult to do on your first go around. The last example of like a debut album I can think that really kind of like struck at the core of what it felt like to be a young person was Pure Heroin for Lord. And even that was a little bit like, that was a little highbrow for the 15 and 16-year-olds. Like we all banged to it. A lot of us got it, but I wouldn't say that it had the kind of mass penetration that Olivia Rodrigo was able to have with Sour, where she was also able to appeal to a younger audience. And I think than her, I mean, like younger, like kids. And I think that is really key when you're trying to be like a pop star. You have to have this intergenerational appeal, but most specifically, you have to appeal to the young people because they're the ones that are obsessive. They're the ones that are going to grow up with your career and your music. You really should be shooting for the lowest common denominator if you want to be a pop star, while still obviously like expressing your artistry and like being as artful and masterful of your craft as you possibly can. And I think that Olivia did that really well. And I mean, having 3 songs like Deja Vu, Driver's License, and Good For You on your first record, to me, is a star power moment. And I think that Olivia really just has this charisma that the other girlies don't have. And that's not to say that the other girlies aren't good. I'm just saying that to me, Olivia Rodrigo is the most serious contender for a new main pop girl that I've seen in a really long time. What we forget a lot of the times is that there are some like pop girlies that, you know, sprout up for a little bit and go back down, that don't end up really like cementing themselves as kind of like main fixtures of this very specific kind of pop genre. And I think that Olivia absolutely has the range to go toe to toe with Billie Eilish and be kind of the like Paramore female artist of her generation. And I'm very excited to see how this album shapes out. I think that I'm getting a lot of like She has done her research on her influences as well. Something that I said that I would like to see her do in my review of Sour originally was that I thought that her melodic, diaristic, confessional songwriting could get a little stale. And what I wanted to see her lean into was more of that, like, good for you, brutal, jealousy, that harder edge, more kind of like female rage, teen angst, melodrama thing. I really wanted to see her lean into that. And I think that's absolutely what we're getting here on Bad Idea, right? And I think if that and Vampire are the two types of songs that we're going to be getting on this record, then we have been set up for a win. And I can definitely hear the kind of like Alanis Morissette, Avril Lavigne, Michelle Branch influence coming through very clearly. She is an extremely expressive and emotive vocalist in a way that I think Taylor isn't. She definitely has like a better technical grasp of her voice, and I think that's something that also sets her apart from Taylor as an artist, is that she has kind of more room to work with. Her voice is more dynamic. She can do more things with it, and I think that we can see that most clearly on a song like Vampire, where she's objectively singing a kind of ridiculous song that has all these, like, it sounds like 3 different songs that were sandwiched together, and the fact that that managed to go number 1 on the Hot 100, even amidst the absolute avalanche of Taylor Swift content and the chart gamification that's been going on, the fact that she still managed to emerge on top there really says to me that what Olivia is doing is resonating really widely and profoundly with her audience, and I love to see that. I find that to be very interesting. What I also think is very interesting about Olivia is that she understood that after the massive success of Sour, and when it felt like she was everywhere, she picked the exact right moment to dial it down and disappear a little bit. She was not all over TikTok, she was not on Instagram, she was doing the thing that artists need to do, which was she was outliving her life and collecting new experiences to write about. She was having all of these like new relationships, entering into a new grown-up part of her life. She moved out of her parents' home, I believe. She also, had her own money at this point. She was over the age of 18. She had her driver's license. She had freedom and the ability to go wherever she wanted. So I think that the growing pains aspect of Olivia's career is so, yet to come. And I think that what we got from Sour, from like a 16, 17, 18-year-old girl, was pretty remarkable. So I'm kind of only seeing that there's up to go. And I think that it was very smart not to totally discount the Sour era. Guts really feels like Sour Part 2, or like the second edition, a remastering of that record, if you will, because I always felt that Sour was a project that maybe she was pressured into rushing out a little bit too soon. She had those 3 excellent songs, and if she had that and Vampire and this song and, whatever other smash hits are going to exist on Guts, if she had compiled all of that into just one very concise, tight album, now that would have been one of the best debut pop albums of all time, I would think. I think with the constant metabolization of music, the streaming, the way that labels pressure you to be constantly releasing stuff, I think she's kind of done her best to strike a balance between putting stuff out and like remaining in the public consciousness while also taking a step back. And I don't see a lot of like young artists that are able to take a step back, because she was really quite quiet for about a year and a half, 2 years almost. I don't see a lot of contemporary artists that would be able to survive taking a break for that long and come back with a song like Vampire and have it be as successful and talked about as it was. So I think that that is a testament to Olivia's skill as a songwriter and her skill as a communicator and a translator of the teenage girl experience. I think that this song that we just listened to today is going to resonate pretty far and wide with the teenage girls who are stuck in these bad relationships where they keep going back to these no good, low down, dirty, rotten men. And I love to hear Olivia singing about it with some humor, because something that I think also happens when you're very young and that we heard on Sour is that she took herself very seriously. Like, everything was very profound and deep and intimate, and the lyricism wasn't really matching the profundity that I think she was trying to project with the experiences she was talking about. And now I think it seems that she, as you get older, you get a little bit more jaded, and that makes you a little bit funnier. It makes you a little wittier. It makes you more willing to look at yourself as a character rather than like the main character. So you can like zoom out a little bit and comment on the way that you participate and interact in these scenarios. We definitely see that in Vampire. I should have known it was strange. You only come out at night. She's definitely putting some accountability back on herself. It's not all screw you, you did me wrong, you don't care about me anymore. I think that Vampire was such a great song, and I didn't do a reaction. I can't remember why. I think I was away, but I really was blown away by her vocal delivery. She has this very like almost musical theater-y, campy, very melodramatic performance style that I think is so captivating, and it really straddles the border of like corny and sincere, and I think that sometimes it tips over into the corny side, but most often it comes across as like, this is a young girlie who is like making some art and she's saying exactly what's on her mind, and she's not afraid to say that she has emotions and that she feels things. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about being a teenage girl who has a lot of thoughts and opinions and feelings. And I think if you know anything about Taylor Swift's life and times, you can absolutely see the parallels that we need to be drawing here. But I think, you know, this era is going to be difficult for Olivia because I've already seen a lot of backlash against her. It seems like, you know, I mean, this happens to every girlie on her second record. You get praised effusively for your debut. You get told that you're the best thing in the world. You get built up to get torn right down. So she has a long way to fall, but I really think that Olivia is an artist, and I think that she's a musician, honey, unlike some of these other girls. Some of the other girls are singers, some of the other girls are performers, but Olivia is a musician. She is a creator. She's not just a communicator. She is an author. She has things to say and a specific message and delivery to give. And I think also the visuals for this record so far have been super compelling. It was a great choice to continue collaborating with Petra Collins. I think she really is in touch with that Gen Z kind of like high budget DIY filtered look that they have with all of those Marc Jacobs heaven styled outfits. I think that Olivia understands how to both be trendy and also be original. I think that's kind of my favorite thing that I like the most about her is you could give Olivia Rodrigo the song Nonsense and she'd probably, you know, add something to it, elevate it a little bit. If you gave a certain girlie a song called Vampire, she wouldn't be able to give the performance that Olivia does. She wouldn't be able to make it convincing. And, you know, I don't want to tear other artists down, but that's the comparison that I see the most often is between those two. And to me, there's a very clear star. So that's all for me this week. I really think I've showed up in your subscriptions inbox way too much already. I will be seeing you next week with my Eras Tour outfit roasts. I can't wait to share all the looks, give you guys some inspiration. Let me know what you thought of the new Olivia Rodrigo song. And are you excited for Guts? What song are you most excited to hear? Because the track list looks very promising to me. Okay, I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.